Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have an overview of the fourth and final star deck for the Dragon Ball Super Fusion World card game, which comes out this upcoming February. It's the Frieza star deck, and honestly one of the ones I'm really anticipating going to be doing very well with the release of this card, at least in like the little star deck meta, which I know is not going to be the same as like probably set one, but it's really interesting. It does some cool things. And real quick before we get started, if you guys want to see any of the cards from any of the star decks, I have updated my website Eggman Events, which is linked in the description with all the cards from each one of these star decks. So you can check out any of the cards here on my website. But I also have printable proxies as well, so you can click this link. It opens up a Google Drive, and I do have these sheets. It just has 4 of every card since we don't know the ratios quite yet. And most people I think want 4 of every card anyways for proxy purposes. So, but it has all this for you guys. So if you guys want to start testing with paper, that's a resource for you. So it did take quite a bit of work to get that all set up and everything. So if you do appreciate it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe once again. And let's jump on and talk about this leader. And also like it's pretty clear to me like the Goku and the Vegeta star decks were their first idea for translation. You know, making this card game at least from Masters into the Fusion World format, and it's these ones are like what? These are the safe ones, and then they got a little bit crazy with the Broly and the Frieza. These ones are, I think, a little bit more unique for how they work, and they kind of have like Broly for sure. Broly is just like completely different than the other decks, but I think Frieza is a little bit more like that, and then more and kind of like an intermediate step. So if you guys are care about it, real quick, if you're really new to kind of these card games, I think Goku and Vegeta are kind of like the good ones for you to try for that, and then I think Broly and Frieza are a little bit more of the more technical and unique ones. So, but Frieza gets a lot of value and gets a lot of additional value with kind of how its leader effect goes. So it has on the front side pretty standard for these. It's when attacking, you get to draw 1. But also, and awaken 4 or less. Life is at 4 or less. So you get to draw a card, flip over, and then on the back side we have this Frieza 20k. When attacking, you get to draw 1, but also end of your turn, choose up to 2 of your battle cards and switch them to active mode. So this is a pretty strong effect. There was actually a Frieza leader, this was pretty much the same as in the regular in Dragon Ball Super Masters. Didn't see a lot of play since there was another Frieza that kind of was better than it generically, but I really do like the idea of this card being able to, put 2 cards in active mode. Means that they are safe from attack, but also you'll see that yellow has a lot of blockers at its disposal. And I think that this is a color identity that yellow is really great for, like making cards active, making them suspended, and being able to are arrested rather, and being able to interact with cards like that. You'll see like yellow has a lot of cheap removal, but it's specifically removal of cards that are already rested. So that's kind of like the trade-off compared to like the removal from like green or maybe red at times. So that's kind of the idea for that one. But we're going to jump into the battle cards real quick. Like the other ones, there's a good amount of vanillas for them as well, just because they do need to fill the star decks a little bit with it. But honestly, like vanillas are still good in this card game since it's the first set. So they can just hit really hard and you can't really do anything about it. But going into like the early cards, we have like this 1-drop Frieza, which on play you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode, which honestly, I'm really surprised this has no cost requirement for it. You'll see like a lot of other cards like this 2-drop Frieza have the effect that you get to rest something, but it's something that's cost 3 or less. This being able to be like a 1 cost, which also you can combo with for 10k, that just says, oh, I get to rest your card, is a little silly that gets to happen there. But we also do have Frieza. This deck has 2 Self-Awakeners, which I think is fantastic that this game from day one lets you have Self-Awakeners in your deck, which was not the same for the Masters format, the previous card game. But this one, when attacking, you get to add 1 to your hand and then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards that cost 3 or less. You get to switch to rest mode, so you can attack into it, which is really cool. So like early game, this card seems like really strong. I think it's going to be in a really good spot. And then also we have our other 2-drop, which is the Zarbon. It's a blocker, so on play you get to add 1 card from your life to your hand. So again, like the blockers work really well with this leader, where we can attack with them and then we can restand them. So we don't care about leaving our blockers active because we get them back at the end of your turn. So unless you like really need it, being able to be offensive and defensive at the same time is historically very strong in card games like that too. So having a lot of these blockers, we'll see a couple more in a little bit, including our next one, 3-drop Kui here. So it's a blocker, has a when KO you get to draw a card too. So we don't have a lot of card draw in this game. We have a little bit of cycle, but being able to say, you know what, this did its damage, or I didn't need to, I need to save one of my bigger boys or more important cards from this. Being able to use this as a block and also as a card draw means I'm in a good spot. So honestly, I don't think you would want this KO'd early game anyways, because you'd rather get the card draw from hitting your leader. But other than that, I think this is a pretty good blocker for yellow as well. So other than that, I think that's like the generically, that's all the cards that say the super rares and the super combo. But one of our super rares is the King Cold, and honestly, I think this was the really good one. I think Frieza's Golden Frieza's in a good spot, but like this gets a lot of value for you. So it's a 4-drop, 25k. It's a blocker as well, but it has this 1 KO. You get to choose one of your opponent's rest card, battle mode card, or rest mode battle cards with the cost of 4 or less, and you get to KO it. So the fact that this gets like a free KO, and like your opponent can attack with a 4 cost or less, you block with King Cold, it gets KO'd, you get to trade with it immediately, and that also means that King Cold, like you were able to play it and attack with it and probably restand it with your leader. It just had like really good interaction, and the fact that it's a 25k blocker when your leader's a 20k means you get like a free block with it every turn, and then you get to like afterwards like attack. Like it's just a good card for a lot of value, and I think this synergizes with the Golden Frieza leader very well. This is a really, really strong card, especially since it's again only 4, and with the energy marker being able to ramp into this, for 4, or sorry, on turn 3 for going second is I think a good move too. We also have our Golden Frieza, which is this one's okay. It's a little bit lackluster. I think the rest of the deck like goes very well, but it has like probably like one of the weakest forms of removal in this card game that we've seen. So it's a 35k double strike, which is good for a 5 cost, but when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards, and it can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next turn. So the fact that it gets the stun, and it also there's no way to do it. Usually it says like during your opponent's refresh stage or something like that when they're untapping everything, which means if they have another way to untap something, you can't. So like in the mirror match, this will stun cards as well. So but it doesn't really get rid of it, right? It just kind of says, okay, it's stunned for a turn, but you get it back, which means that it doesn't really remove it. It's only really good like if it stops your opponent from kind of doing anything the next turn. So it doesn't have any costs associated with it, which is good. But obviously trying like actually physically removing the card from the board is probably better, but it stuns everything, which means it can stun like the big 8-drop Broly, which is a menace if it hits the board. So I think that's fair, but it's fine. It's not a bad card in any regard, but the when attacking effect is just okay, I'd say. So other than that, though, I think there's a pretty good pool of cards here. I also said this in the Broly one, but the 7-drop Chi-Lai is the super combo, and I like that the super combos are just a really high cost. Just means that you don't get to play them, and also it generically means that most of the cards that let you get cards from your warp or from your drop rather are cards with like cost of 3 or less, or like they do a cost for it. So that means that in Dragon Ball Super Masters, there's a lot of situations where they forgot that a card is a super combo and recyclable, and then it's kind of in a bad spot. So not having that happen for your super combos in this game, I think, is a good idea, and the fact that it's also only on the defense, I think, is good. Unlike the Masters game, which is offense and defense too. So I think that's a good move, and will probably prevent headaches in the future as well. So lastly, we have 2 extra cards for us. We have the Golden Death Beam. Activate main, choose up to one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with the cost of 3 or less, and KO it. So kind of like I said, it's a 1-cost destruction, so that is very strong. And you can kind of get into some 2-card combos where you use like this 1-drop Frieza, you rest something, and then you use the 1-drop Golden Death Beam to get rid of it. So you're kind of trading off energy for card advantage, but that's usually okay. And then we also have the Death Ball. So activate battle, choose your leader up to one of your battle cards, gets plus 15k power for the battle, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less, and switch to rest mode. So honestly, I think of all the 1-cost cards, this is probably one of the most strong ones. It's good on both offense and defense. On defense side, you'll be able to become, the plus 15k, but also you can rest something that would probably try to attack you during the same turn. And like offensively, if you attack with something and your opponent doesn't block with one of their 3 cost or less blockers, you can play this Death Ball, which not only helps you get damage or pressure during this current attack, it means it gets rid of the blocker that they were probably depending on to maybe get out of a bigger attack that you're expecting. So like being able to use like Death Ball to or like Death Ball to get rid of something smaller, and then that just means like your 35k Double Strike Frieza doesn't have a blocker to prevent it, is probably pretty good. So I like the idea of this card. We essentially had a similar card in Dragon Ball Masters. It was essentially relevant after the card was released, and seeing this in set 1 means I'm going to guess this card's going to be around for quite a bit. It's a very good card too. So that is all I have for this one, and I hope you guys appreciate this. Again, all of these cards are here. I'm looking forward to this Frieza list. It is probably, again, I would say I did spend a good amount of time with the red and blue list since they were the demo decks we got from Gen Con, but both the Broly and Frieza are really interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to testing them more. I will probably make a gameplay video of them in the next day or two, so make sure to be on the lookout for that, and it should be a good time. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about the new Frieza deck, and I'll catch you all next time.